Hello everyone, I'm Sima Kadipura, 300 level student, business education, and my co-profit team are going to be discussing on the topic system development procurement. And under this discussion, we have learning objectives. We are going to be discussing on number one is system development life cycle, number two software development strategy, three strategy selection, number four build versus buy, and number five human elements. So I'm going to be starting on what system development really is. What's the meaning? What do we understand when we say system development? System development, relating to an organization, is the process of defining, designing, testing, and implementing a new software application or program. What do I mean by that? For example, let me give an illustration. For example, a company that is making use of analog for their analog method of auditing, stock evaluation, inventory control, and they decide, okay, we want to take into the digital system because of the change in technology, we want to flow with the technology. So the company decide to build up a software for their auditing, stock evaluation, and also inventory control. This process of whereby they define a particular kind of system, a software, they define a particular kind of software. Okay, what kind of software are we looking for? Is it software for the finance alone, or software that will control all aspects of the organization? And they test it, whereby after defining the particular kind of software, then they test it, and also after testing, is the software okay, is the software good for the organization? And after testing it, they find out that, oh yes, it's okay, then they implement it, whereby they implement it to the organization for using it for their daily activity in the organization. This process is called system development. The process whereby they define the software they want to use, then they test it, and after that they implement it, is the process we call system development. So that's what we're going to be discussing in this topic. And on system development, it could include internal development of customized system. What do I mean by that? When we say internal development of customized system, it can be that, okay, they decide that the software design is going to be for the internal use of the organization alone, or it could be a database system whereby they are using to collect data from customers or outsiders to check the activity of their organization. Or it could be a software, or it could be a third-party development software whereby for example, they get in an audit firm to help them develop a software that can be used for their accounting, process of the accounting part of the organization. All this process is called what we call system development. And under the system development, we are going to be looking at the stage in which we go through before we can develop our system, develop a particular software for the organization. Number one is the planning stage. The planning stage, under the planning stage, we have assessing business need. Is at this stage whereby they sit down, they assess, okay, what's the need of this business, what's our problem, what are we facing? Okay, we are facing in the financial aspect, there have been some fraud and missing stock and all that, we're unable to track it. So instead of making use of this analog system, let's build a software. So that's the stage, at this planning stage is where they plan towards assessing their needs. Okay, the kind of need that is making them build up the software, or the return on investment. Okay, maybe they are not getting enough return on their investment, and they are, okay, what kind of software can we build to build up more customers? For example, maybe they build up an online phase of their business. So it's at this planning stage they think of the kind of software they want to develop for the betterment of the organization. Then the next stage is the analysis stage. At this analysis stage is a stage whereby they design, okay, what are the things that we are going to need, what are the requirements we need to build up this particular software. Are we going to build the software, or are we going to buy? It's at this stage they analyze the best option that will be good for the organization. Then after the analysis stage, they move to the design stage. It's the stage whereby they design all that they need, all they need, the architectural design and data mode design. all that is required, all that is needed for the building up of the data of the software for the organization. So the design stage whereby they design everything from the beginning to the end of all the necessary requirements for the building development of this software. So my colleague is going to take from thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Mohammed Aishat Ujima. Taking up from where my colleagues have stopped, I'll take on the next stage in the system development life cycle, which is the development stage. The development stage is divided into the version control, the project and issue tracking, and the code review. What's the version control? It is the system responsible for managing the changes in the computer software. Any change that needs to be made to the computer software, this is the system that does all the changes. Then the next one, the project and issue tracking, provides an easy way to document issues and assign responsible parties to it. And it also views how the issue resolution is progressing. So any issue that comes up during the course of developing our system software, this stage covers it up. Then the next one, the code review. The code review assigns one or several people to check a program by viewing and reading it to check its quality for end users. That's what the code review does. Then the next stage in the system development life cycle is the testing stage. The testing stage is subdivided into 6 phases. The first one, which is the unit testing. The unit testing is a software testing technique involving testing an individual unit or component of the software to confirm its accuracy. The unit testing tests the component of the system software by unit. Then the next one is the system testing. It dates the complete and fully integrated software product. Its purpose is to evaluate the end-to-end system specification. At this stage, it is tested by both the end users and the IT staff. Now, the next one, we move to the stress testing. The stress testing has to do with the test conducted to assess how well systems performs under peak load. This test is conducted by the IT staff to check how well the system will perform on so many loads on it. Then the next one, parallel testing. The parallel testing is a test carried out to compare the new system output to the output generated by the system it is replacing. At this stage, the IT staff has to check that, okay, we are introducing a new system to replace a previous one. How well will the output be? What difference will it be? What difference will the new output be from the other old system it's replacing? Then the next one, we move to the integration testing. The integration testing is a bottom-up approach for testing. That is, the continuous testing of an application when a new functionality is added. When you add a new functionality, you have to test, okay, does the new functionality fit into the application software? Does it work well with it? Does it go hand in hand with it? Then the last one is the acceptance testing. At this stage, the system is tested for acceptability by the end users. You have to check how well does this system perform. You have to check and determine whether the product is acceptable by the people meant to use it, by the end users. Moving swiftly to the next stage in the system development life cycle, which is the implementation stage. The implementation stage is divided into the parallel, the phased, and the direct. What does the parallel stage have to do with? It is launched when the old system is still running. At this stage, you implement the new system alongside the old system. Then the next stage is the phased system. This has to do with how will your new application system be structured. Will it be structured geographically? Is it for organization use? Is it for a specific set of people? This is what this phase is all about. Then the next stage is the direct implementation. At this stage, you switch off the old system completely and start running the new system with all of its functionalities. Now we'll move on to the last stage in the system development life cycle, which is maintenance. At the maintenance stage, we have the bug fixes and the change requests. At this stage, The end users has to keep on updating the app. They have to keep on checking the necessary requirements needed for the app. They have to keep on sending requests. Anything you need the app to fix, you send it and let the application, those who created the application developers, you have to make sure that they get your request. Then lastly, the aging of information system. Information system ages over time. So as a end user, as an application user, you have to keep on updating the app. And if the app is no more in use, you have to keep on replacing it. And thank you. My colleague will pick up from where I start. Thanks.
Good day, everyone. My name is Inumo Bidemi Messi. As my colleague has said, I'll be continuing from the topic software development strategies. What is software development strategies? Software development strategy is a set of upfront decisions that allows you to come up with an effective set of the do's and don'ts and how regarding the future application design, develop, and deployment. So what is software development strategy is actually talking about is like the decision that allows an organization to know the do's and the don'ts and how they plan their future design and development. Here we talk about the iterative method. We'll be talking about the iterative method and the agile method. What is the iterative method? The iterative method is the process where the design of a product or an application is improved by repeated review and testing. What this place is actually trying to talk about is that when an application is being improved, or when an organization comes up with an application, they have to like continuously test it and review to know if the application will be good enough for the organization to use. It said that a sequence of instruction or code are being repeated until a specific result is achieved. As I said earlier, that when an organization comes up with an application, they have to like test run, or they have to continue testing and repeat testing. Agile method. They said the agile method is where demand and solution emerge through the collaborative efforts of self-organizing and cross-functioning teams and their customers. The agile method here, it uses a relatively unstructured approach in which tasks are not sequenced according to the system development level cycle. Instead, many activities occur. Like what this agile method is actually talking about, they're like, instead of them making use of the planning, the analysis, and the implementing and the testing, they just make use of they simultaneously make use of other activities in the agile method. Under the agile method, we have the Scrum and the Extreme programming. What is this? The Scrum. The Scrum offers a framework for software development that relies on tightly knit, cohesive team that do sprints of 2 or 4 weeks each. Yeah, what this Scrum is actually trying to talk about is that they are the structure that stress on the teamwork, the accountability. The Extreme programming, as said earlier, is the frequent release of workable software. That is the release of frequently release of the software we can actually work on. That is releasing of the software we can actually work on. Then he said this approach stresses 4 fundamental principles, which are coding, testing, listening, and designing. That is how they can make use of the coding in software, the testing of the software, the listening, and the design. The comprehensive approach is actually talking about the type of project and the organization culture. When we talk about the type of project is all talking about the approach that you are going to use that you're going to use for your project? Is it an iterative approach? Is it the waterfall? Is it the water, or is it the agile approach that's going to be used for your project? That's what the type of project is all talking about. Then organizational culture is the collection of values, expectation, practices that guide and inform the action of all team members. For example, an organization that deals with selling of phone, they need an application software for the service they offer.
Hello, my name is Richie, a student of the Business Education Department Year 3, and I'll be presenting a topic on the waterfall model. So basically, waterfall model is a linear project management approach where customer requirements are collected at the beginning of the project. Then the project manager plans on how to satisfy those requirements. So basically, the waterfall model sees software development as a set of tasks that need to be completed before moving on to the next task. So here are some reasons why the waterfall model is still being used. The first one is that managers are familiar. Okay, so first off, like, managers are familiar with this software development approach, and being familiar makes it easier for them to use and take advantage of it. Secondly, developers are still adapting. Okay, so young developers in the game are still adapting to this software approach, and so they need some time to get used to it. They need some time to become familiar with it. Okay, cultural challenges for Agile. Okay, so there are some cultural challenges that come with the Agile software model, but in the waterfall model, these cultural challenges do not exist. The next thing, buying strategy. Okay, so under buying strategy, we have two approaches, and the first one is RFI. RFI simply means request for information, and RFP simply means request for proposal. Okay, so like basically these are documents issued by the government to developers for the purchase of a product or service. Yeah, and there are several advantages and disadvantages under this. Okay, so like the first one, custom system. The first advantage is it's tailored closely to the organization's needs. Okay, so this advantage simply explains that the organization's needs are similar, and the organization's needs could simply be achieved through this model, through this approach, the waterfall model. And the disadvantage of this is it costs more, it has a higher cost of running, and it's expensive to run. The second one, development. It offers strategic. That's the advantage under development is that it offers strategic value that contributes to the company's competitive advantage. And secondly, it does not require employees to change their processes. Okay, so like under this approach, employees could still do what they are used to, could still use the same process, could still use the same approach. There's no need for them to change or switch to any other approach. You could simply just continue doing what they're used to. But the first disadvantage requires more time before going live. Okay, so this approach requires this approach takes more time, it takes more effort, it takes more time before employees could actually use it, before employees could actually launch it, before employees could actually put it to use. The second disadvantage is that it requires ongoing in-house maintenance, upgrade, and compliance. Okay, so similar to the first disadvantage, that it's expensive to run. This approach, this model requires constant upgrade, requires constant maintenance, requires you to like keep at it constantly, and this could be exhausting and overwhelming at some point.
Good day everyone, my name is Odejimi Grant and I'm here to make a presentation on adaptation and customization. Yeah, so when the company decides to change a system, it chooses between changing it or customizing it. Adaptation is the process of changing a company's system to suit the workers or members of the organization, while customization refers to the action of altering the particular system to suit the workers or members of the organization. Yeah, I want to talk about the advantages. Advantage of the adaptation method system is it is very quick and easy to install, and the disadvantage is that it is a very robust system. Now for customization on the other hand can allow reasonably short adaptation. The workers adapt easily to the customization method. Why? And the disadvantage is that it's always frustrating to use because of the tweaking and all of the system. Customization is important because it makes the workers happy and makes work easier. Now let's talk about human elements. Human elements is a systematic approach for improving the way people work together in an organization.